I personally think people think way too much in Overwatch, like me included, and it's been a real big problem for why I stagnate or didn't improve as much at the start, or I found it difficult to improve. I think a lot of it boils down to that exact thing. I think you kind of need to think less in Overwatch. I think that is definitely important. So the theory is, I think you're probably thinking more than you really should, or more than anyone else is thinking, sort of. So what happens a lot is that you will think already that to win a game or to beat your opponents, that you have to almost outwit them, outthink them, or outmechanic them. It's either or. A lot of people do fall into the thinking one more than the mechanics one than you'd imagine. A lot of people are like, I whatever, mechanics aren't great. I'm gonna outplay them. I'm gonna do this, and that. And sometimes that's just not the case. Sometimes you don't need to be thinking that much. And the thing is, the team that beat you were thinking probably half as much as you were. You don't want so many thoughts going on in your brain, otherwise you end up not being able to do anything in game. I am speaking completely from experience here. I'm not talking as if I'm like a coach or as if I'm some educator on this topic. I am strictly talking my own experience when learning the game has led me to this conclusion. Okay? That's how that's worked. Ideally, in a game, you shouldn't need to think that much. You might be thinking about one thing, or you might be generally like on like, you know, like your conscience just thinking, like it's just sometimes you go, oh, they're gonna shatter now, I'm getting ready to shield. That's not like a overthink, that's more of a intuition style thought, which is fine. Let me just talk about a bit about how I'm an overthinker, right? I've always overthought stuff, and especially in Overwatch, I've always been a bit like, is this angle best? Is this space best? Should I be going for this target? Is this the one I should do? What ultimates do they all have? What abilities are up? Where's this guy? And I'm like trying to think too much about the game, and then what you end up doing is really nothing. This was really easy to do, and I think it's influenced by the fact that I used to play a lot of Sombra, and Sombra had perma-invis, so you sort of would just sit there thinking while perma-invis because you had the time to, and then do nothing, and then your team dies, and you go, oh, why is my team dead? Oh, I can't do anything, my team's always dead. Because they're flying a 4v5. I mean, most people will know this, but pro players aren't thinking as much as you probably think they are. A lot of it's muscle memory, a lot of it comes from good hard practice, good hard learning, and then boom, muscle memory. You just sort of, the game kind of plays itself once you know it really, really well and have practiced these things to death. What is the ideal way to learn the game then, if we're gonna not overthink every single thing we do in game? You should learn a small thing, maybe outside of the game, or when you watch a VOD review of yourself or something like that, right? Not in game. So you might watch something, you might look at your VOD review, and you might be like, consistently, my dashes on Genji are getting a lot less value. I'm just dashing for the sake of dashing. This perk thing's annoying me. I'm just wasted dash. I'm using it to do no damage. I'm deflecting and then dashing. I'm, stuff like that. You might realize that your dashes are quite bad. So what you might want to do is you might take that, and you might know off the bat, okay, I know what to do from here. I'm gonna go work on that. You might even be like, okay, well, how do I dash better? So then you might look at a pro game, even a streamer VOD, even when they're not like trying that hard. Muscle memory, their dashes will be fine. So you check a Genji pair and you go, see, oh, they never dash while their deflect is, on cooldown, or they only dash if they can guarantee this, or to close the gap, or to use this. I don't know. I'm not a Genji player, so I can't actually give a complete advice on this, but yeah. So you can go learn from that, and then you can bring that context, that context and that learning and that skill into your game, and then do you know what you think about in game? Dashing, and that's it. That's all you think about. You just dash. You dash. I probably could have given a better example. I could do this here now. On my old account, I learned Tracer, and I reached like Masters 2 playing Tracer. Whether that was deserved or not is actually a different question, because I think I went negative. I think I lost most of my games in ranked, but the account itself, its MMR after playing all like the quick play and other games, was placed like GM something. So I lost all my placements. They got Masters 2, and yeah. So I learned Tracer, and what would I do? I would discover a new thing that I wasn't good at and that I needed to learn, and in that case it was everything. So I sat down and I was like, alright, close range off angle. I don't care what angle, what everything. Just make sure it's close range. I did that for a day or two, and then I moved on. Even if it wasn't perfect, I moved on, and I was like, hey, trigger discipline. Trigger discipline. Try to get that. My trigger discipline still sucks. I've actually like got to work on that more. And then I was like, okay, we'll put that one down. Okay, and now we're gonna work on like timing. Watch our teammates and constantly watch and realize where I'd be aware and I time it. Okay, good. I got that one. All right. And do you know what I mean? It's like stuff like that. Oh, I'm gonna practice blink melee. It's like not even something crazy. Like it can just be something as simple as that. Every time you can blink melee, you go for it, and you just learn it, and you just learn. You learn one thing. If you keep thinking about juggling 5 different things at once, say I decided in game I'm gonna do better angle choice. I'm gonna time them better, and I'm gonna do trigger discipline, and I'm gonna blink melee every time I can. I'm gonna try stick on my pulses. Like you just would lose your mind. You'd lose your mind. You'd go insane, and that's what a lot of people were actually doing, and that's why you might find it more difficult to make progress. Learn something, practice it. Learn something, practice it. Come back to it. Learn something, it's like any skill. It's like guitar, for instance. It's like when I'm learning a song, I learn a bar, practice the bar. Learn the next bar, practice the bar. Come back. Can I do both bars in a row? Yes, I can. Good. Move on to the next bar. And so on and so forth. It's just more streamlined and obvious with the guitar. Another thing I want to mention is I'm victim of this still. Consuming too much educational content will drive you mad. I love educational content. I think it's really fun, and I would love to be able to make more of it because I think it's fun. But I don't have necessarily, I think, the stats or I don't have anything to back me on my takes. You know what I mean? Like I can't. It's harder to teach at a level when I haven't really achieved the thing I'd be trying to teach. Right? I've dipped in and out of masters, not been I think if I was a solid higher master player, I would be like, do you know what? Like I have something to give him. Coaches don't need to be the highest rank in the world or whatever. But I think a coach should be able to reach at least masters, and I haven't comfortably done that, so I don't feel great giving out specific educational content. But I understand how I got myself from bronze to a peak of masters 2, right? And then kind of heated into the masters 5 diamond 1 region, right? On both roles, by the way, on support and DPS, I've done that both. So there's my portfolio if you need that, but it's not that good. Anyway, my point is, consuming too much educational content is very common. I do it still because it's fun, and you feel like you're doing something, right? You feel like you're out of the game, you're actually learning something, taking things in. The thing is, even though I enjoy it, you have to sometimes realize you aren't learning anything unless you are technically like noting things down, taking bits by bits, and then practicing it in a game. You're writing notes. I mean, I genuinely think if you watch educational content and you write notes, it sounds so nerdy, but you actually end up in a really good spot. I actually did it a while ago when I learned Tracer with a Spylo coaching session, and I did it with a Sombra one. I had like all these little notes I took down. I was like, okay, so you have to time this one. Okay, you have to do this. And then it was like around the clock. I was like, okay. And then the next day, I was like, okay, I'm gonna practice this one this week, this one. It's so nerdy, and it's not something anyone actually wants to do, but it makes so much progress. It's actually insane. Like you will make like, you'll make so much like SR gain in a month if you do that, compared to if you just kind of kept playing, doing nothing. That's another thing. Typically, even practicing and learning is like a slow process of visible reward. So I could learn a lot about a character, like I have. So I don't really know how to show this as an example, right? But I've been playing a lot of support recently, even after learning. Right, like look at this. It's all very like Brig and then there I played a bit. But like even after I spent a lot of the time learning DPS and learning Tracer, I didn't actually apply that very much to my games. And so what ended up happening was that I could be ranking up, but I'm not. You still have to put in the time and play the game, even if you learn the thing. You're not just gonna get instant rewards. So that's another thing to point out actually. I have that written down on my notes here even. Like sometimes you just have to play the game. I call it doing your reps and doing your time. There's actually just a thing. If you just look at top 500 players, it's almost like, okay, well they've just played 1,000 hours. They just know more. You can't actually expect at 400, 500 hours to be performing at the level that people who have played 2,000 hours perform at. Obviously, with good practice and learning lots, you can accelerate the effectiveness of your time, but you want to... What was I even saying? You want to play the game. You still want to play the game, and that's been my biggest problem. I barely play the game anymore. But that's kind of just because I focus a lot more on. I like writing and talking about Overwatch characters and stuff. Whether that does well or not is a different question, but I think it's fun. Learning more and like consuming more content and learning more about the game and learning about all these different characters and all the maps and stuff, whilst it's fun, it is a recipe to overwhelm yourself. I think you will hurt yourself more by doing that than good you will do. Now, look, if you just love the content, like if you just, I mean, this is crazy. I'm part of the content now by making this video. If you just keep consuming all this content, expecting it to do something, you are going to overwhelm yourself. You have to almost take it as, oh, I'm watching it because it's enjoyable, or sometimes even just take a bit back and just play the game your way. You learn the most from figuring things out yourself. You always have. Now, guidance and teaching is great, but learning it yourself is amazing. I think back to when I was in school and doing maths. It's like, yes, I've been shown how to do the thing, but I sometimes would come and I go, yeah, but I found this the easier way to do it, because I sat down and I did my questions, and yeah, I knew the way to get the answer, but my method of getting the answer is slightly different from another person's, and that's where you learn how to apply the skill. Obviously, some people don't care about that, but learning to apply the skill is more important. Again, if I note this to a guitar, for instance, when you learn your scale, you learn your chords, you learn your notes, the key, all well and good having this knowledge, but you do have to apply it at a point. Learn something, apply it, learn something, apply it, don't learn a bunch, and then try to apply all of it. Anyway.